The night air hung heavy with mist, curling around the cobblestone streets like a living thing. Lanterns flickered in front of shuttered windows, casting long, trembling shadows that danced against the walls of houses that had long forgotten. The sound of laughter. Life had always moved slowly, measured by the tolling of the church bell and the soft murmur of the river that cut through the outskirts. Old Mrs. Halloway, the baker's widow, was the last to close. Her shop that evening, her hands worn and flour-dusted, trembled slightly as she locked the heavy wooden door. "All is as it should be," she whispered, though the words felt hollow. Somewhere a dog barked, echoing into the empty night, but no one stirred beyond. The few lamplit windows the townsfolk had gathered briefly at the square earlier, their conversations low and uneasy. Rumors had been floating like dry leaves, strange lights in the woods, a distant hum that no one could name, and shadows that moved of their own accord. But no one had spoken of fear aloud. There was an unspoken agreement to pretend, if only, for one more night, that life was ordinary. Jacob, a young blacksmith with a curiosity larger than his courage, wandered past the closed church doors. He paused, noticing how even the stars seemed muted, their usual brilliance dulled as if the sky itself had been swallowed. He could hear the creak of a single branch, the whisper of wind against the eaves, but no footsteps, no voices, no life. In the early hours, when the town should have been stirring with the sound of roosters and the distant clatter of carts, an eerie silence persisted. The river no longer babbled. The lanterns and windows no longer glowed. Jacob, bewildered and trembling, ran to the baker's house, then the schoolhouse, then to the town square. Every door he tried was locked, every window shuttered tight. And yet the streets were empty, completely empty, without a trace of a single soul. By the time the first light of dawn touched the rooftops, the town had vanished. Not just its people, but the buildings themselves seemed to fade, leaving only the memory of footprints that led nowhere, and the distant whisper of the river as if it had never been contained. The land where the town once stood lay quiet, overgrown, and untouched, as though the town had never existed, save for the faint outline in the morning mist. Years later, travelers spoke in hushed tones of the place where a town once lived, its name now lost to the world. Some claimed to hear distant laughter on moonless nights or catch a fleeting glimpse of lantern light in the fog. Others said the town remained somewhere else entirely, trapped in time, locked behind doors that only closed once and never opened again. Jacob never spoke of what he had seen, though the memory haunted him until the end of his days, and on nights when the wind was right, he swore he could hear Mrs. Halloway's flour sift, tapping softly in the darkness. A reminder that some stories do not end. They only vanish, waiting to be remembered.